First of all, thank you for taking the time to stop and watch a video that I produce. I appreciate everyone who has an opportunity to enjoy my content and takes the time out of their day in order to watch it. I am making this video because I want to kind of lay out an idea and a direction that I would like to progress with my content and my website, and I feel like I am being called to help people who are from a similar experience to what I have been through in my life. And so I wanted to tell a little bit about my story and then um, let you see whether or not you resonate with what I have in mind. And no hard feelings if you don't, but this is the way that I feel like I'm being called to go in life. So I grew up in a middle class family with, parents that are still married. I played team sports all the way through high school. And, I was always considered to be, um, intelligent, but I always had a spot where I just couldn't get schooling to work for me. Uh, it was always a struggle for me. Homework was something that I couldn't get myself to sit down and do. And I struggled uh, to maintain anything above about a C average um, in school. And so there was a lot of turmoil in my family about what's wrong with me. Why am I not applying myself? I'm so smart, but I can't get my grades up. And, um, I started to feel like I was broken or something was wrong with me. And it was, um, it was a hard period of my life to go through, trying to excel in sports, trying to, be a teenager and find my place in the world, and having everybody basically telling me that I'm not right. Um, they didn't say it as those words, but that's what I heard inside of myself. And so, um, towards the end of high school, I started to um, pull away from my teams, pull away from my activities. I quit doing two of my sports. I only played football my senior year, and I even went out late for that. I was 2 weeks into the season by the time I started playing. Um, and I just couldn't commit to it anymore. I just didn't see the purpose of it, and I was lost. So I ended up. I was in a preparatory school for college, and that was kind of the expectation, is that everybody would be going to college, and so I followed the path and I applied for school, and but of course I did it late, last minute. By that time, all of the state colleges, except for one, had closed their registrations, and so I ended up at one of the second tier schools in Oregon, Southern Oregon University, which is kind of a liberal hippie sort of vibe in the early 2000s when I ended up there in school. Um, Around the same time period, I had been in a couple of car accidents and had been put on a prescription of opiates. And then I'd also had a sports injury. And I don't know if the doctors just didn't see what was going on, or um, what the situation was, but I ended up getting severely addicted to opiates, and they pulled my prescriptions, and but by that point I was already too far into it, and I was using other substances, And anyways, long story short, spent the next 15 years of my life just, lost and hurting everybody and hurting myself. I ended up incarcerated twice in state prison. And basically, I went from having every opportunity in the world to having no opportunity to do anything, right? Because I couldn't deal with what was going on in here. And I always had a very active mind, and I couldn't get it to stop. And so I was trying to numb it, and uh, a couple of bad relationships compounded this. And anyways, in 2013, I ended up incarcerated, and then again in 2018. And in 2018, um, when I ended up going to prison for the second time, my son um, was 5 months from being born. So I went to prison with a fiance that was um, 5 months pregnant and 4 months pregnant, somewhere in there. And I thought everything was going to be good. Ultimately, the relationship couldn't stand that test. But one thing I was sure of in my life was that I wanted to be a father. And I believe that connection carries a lot of power. And I think that that's really our purpose here um, on earth. I believe that God put us here so that we could procreate and that we could um, have the experience of the family unit and have the experience of raising a child and learning the lessons that